Hi everybody, Chad Hunter with Hunter K9.
And David Broderick with Innovative Canine Academy.
Today, I want to talk about a reset. You're going to hear this terminology often when you train and work with us. Reset, the way I like to define it, the easiest way to get my dog to mentally and physically re-engage with me. We're going to talk about the concepts of this, how we train it, why we train it. We're going to go way into depth so you understand why it's such an important component of our dog training.
And what made you come up with the reset? Where did it come from?
So the main purpose of the reset, the reason I actually, when I started training dogs years ago, I utilized the reset with even beginner level stages of dogs towards the entry level stages and all the way up to every day with even my advanced higher trained dogs. Again, it's to mentally and physically get my dog to re-engage with me. I like to refer to, even with my more advanced dogs, I like to refer it as almost a break check, and we'll talk about that more specifically here in just a little bit. But I found that many trainers like to train leash skills through using leash pressure. I'm actually doing the exact opposite. I'm using a completely relaxed leash. You'll hear me talk about often throughout our classes, through our training retreats. The only time my leash should ever go tight is if I'm given a correction. That is the only time my leash should ever have any tension in it. So with that consideration taken in mind, I want to make sure as I'm doing my resets, I'm going to teach you what to do if your dog decides to pull the leash, get ahead of you, and creates that tension on the leash, how you have to actually give slack in that leash to be able to get that correction. But designing this reset over the last 10 to 15 years I've been doing this, I've noticed a significant change in the dog's behavior for them to be able to slow down, start to pick up learning, thinking about what I want them to do.
And so kind of go over when you would use it, in what situations, and really how you started. I mean, you're not just doing this because of something, but you have to also teach the dog what it is, what it means. So kind of go over all of that.
Yep. So the basis of the reset, when I start, even let's say I have a dog that has just entered my program, a dog I'm starting on, whether it's a prong collar, a choke chain, a martingale, whatever piece of equipment I'm using. When I'm teaching loose leash walking, I'm actually using a series of resets, believe it or not, in order to teach those loose leash walking skills. I'll start to add my right about turns and my left about turns. But as I tell people, I don't need a mile to teach my dog how to walk on a leash. I don't need a mile of a straight line. I believe it or not, need only about a 10-foot radius to teach my dog how to properly walk on a nice and relaxed loose leash. So as I walk with these dogs in the beginning stages, as I walk along, I allow these dogs to get ahead of me. As they get ahead of me, they might be disengaged. Let's say if I have the leaves here, they want to check out the leaves, they want to check out the other dog. We all know that those dogs aren't entirely engaged with us. So if that dog wants to go this direction, I'm actually going to go the opposite direction, not by actually turning around and going the other way. I'm just going to physically take a few steps backwards. When I relax that leash, I give that little correction, those little pops on the leash as I need to. And what I'm looking for is I'm looking for a change in behavior, as we say in dog training, or a response. And what this response is I'm looking for, instead of wanting to carry your energy forward or to grab that leaf in this circumstance, I want to see the dog turn around, and as I'm backing up, I'm going to see the dog engage with me, pay attention, and focus on what I'm kind of expecting them to do at that point in time. My way to mark that is simply just by using praise. So as soon as I get the response I'm looking for, I give that little pop. The dog the theory the dog is to understand is, oh, how did you get 2 or 3 steps back that direction? I thought we were going this way. And so if that dog wants to continually forge through that doorway or that opening or on a walk, whatever it is, if that dog wants to continue going this direction, I'm going to go that direction just by moving backwards to prevent that dog from wanting to get into his mindset of pulling forward, gaining ahead of me.
So you take a dog a brand new dog that just got here, and first thing you're wanting to teach them, which of course is most dogs, what they've been trained to do, is to go in front of you more and more and more. So you're basically telling them the more you want to go forward, the more we're going to go backwards.
Correct. So the idea is that I want to not only physically, but I want to mentally slow these dogs down as well, to where as I take that step, that dog's actually starting to check in with me. So a lot of people like to teach focus. I have a mentality, I like to say, if I teach the proper engagement skills and create an expectation just in the beginning stages of loose leash walking, I'm gonna get what I call natural focus. So instead of trying to teach a dog to walk along with me, focus up at me, pay attention to me all the time, once I set that expectation level by allowing that dog to understand, oh, well, he's always a couple steps behind me as many as many steps as I want to take forward. So when that dog starts to continually engage with me, I'm just marking it with praise. Good boy, good girl, nice job, whatever I want to say, I'm just communicating with the dog. They're making the right choice. And the more I build on that idea, the more the dog starts to get what I call natural focus. The more I pay attention to this guy, the more he praises me. I don't have to worry as much about having to correct the dog because now the dog knows the expectation. I like to say many people, when they start walking their dogs, they walk down the street, it's the end of a leash, 6-foot leash if that's what you're using, your flexi lead, whatever piece of equipment you're using, that dog is taking you for a walk down the street. I very rarely have had ever any dogs that have come into my training program that have even the idea that I want them to have when it comes to wanting to go on a morning walk. So starting in your driveway, David and I both talk to our clients religiously about not leaving your driveway for even maybe sometimes the first, maybe even 2 weeks that your dog comes home from training, just because that is where the problem might begin right then and there. If my dog is not in the right mindset when I start on that walk, why am I going to continue on another 30-minute process that I already know is not going to be give me the end result of what I'm looking for?
Yeah, and I tell all my clients, the first 30 seconds to a minute of your walk, in my opinion, is how the rest of your walk is going to go. So if you open your front door and your dog's trying to bolt out or pull you out, pull you down the stairs, do all of those things, it's more than likely the rest of your walk is going to follow that path and continue that way. They're going to want to pull the whole entire way, especially if they see a distraction, a dog, a person that they want to get towards. So you know, the more time you spend in your driveway building that relationship, building their focus on you, like Chad says, the better, in my opinion. And I've been doing board and trains for about 10 years. About 4 years ago, I started implementing the resets, and I've seen a huge change in the way that we can get our dog's energy back on us and away from, for example, my dog wanting to pull towards Chad's dog or another distraction. I've seen a huge benefit about that. And so I kind of want to touch on that real quick. I use it for dogs that in the past were reactive, that just pulled on the leash and were pulling the owner's arms out of their socket, dogs that just get distracted by a skateboard, about anything in general. So where do you use it the most? What when you talk to your clients, where are you going to advise them to use that?
Yep. So I'll actually kind of go right into the end result here, the end game. So I like to this dog right here is what I use for an example every day with my clients about. This dog is a 8-year-old dog. He's won me multiple national championships. He's a very, I call him my Rolls Royce. This dog has significant amount of training. He knows the ins and outs, do's and don'ts. He's a solid dog. But at the same time, down this very same driveway right here out of my driveway, right alongside this field here, this entire field is loaded with rabbits every single morning. So my 7-8-year-old fully trained dog, when he sees a rabbit, because he is a very high prey driven dog, he gets fired up. And when he gets fired up and he kind of, I say the rocking horse mentality where he's kind of doing this, yeah, he's physically, and here's the next component about, we talked about kind of the physical re-engagement, getting my dog where I want them to be at the side, but this correlates over to my mental re-engagement that I'm looking for here. So this dog, he's right where I want him to be. We're walking steady, but his mindset I can see because he has that rocking horse mentality. His feet are jumping. He's anticipating, please run Bunny Rabbit, please run Mr. Bunny Rabbit. Me just doing what I call, you heard me say a little earlier, I talked about the brake check mentality. All I'm doing is taking a quick, sharp step backwards. And if this dog is really mentally where I want him to be, where would I expect him to be at that point in time? Engaged on me. And if I take that quick step back and that dog acknowledges, oh, my dad has changed where he is, I better get back to his side. In other words, he starts to redirect his energy towards me because he knows I need to be paying attention to my dad at that point in time and not on that rabbit. So it might take me sometimes 10 or 15 minutes, even with this own dog right here, to make it out of my driveway on a morning walk, just because those rabbits, as much as he's good around reactive dogs, his kryptonite is rabbits. And when he sees those rabbits, that reset is the #1 tool for me to get my dog to mentally re-engage with me, even though physically he's never pulling the leash. He's right where I want him to be. So I might do a series of those resets or brake checks, as I call them, with a dog like him, where I do them nice, sharp, and quick. I even will throw sometimes a left or a right turn in there to change up the direction of kind of where we're going. But I will not hit that asphalt. This driveway is the driveway I'm using for an example here. I will not hit that asphalt behind us, which is the beginning of our walk, as I say, until I know my dog is mentally with me. And a big thing for you to realize as well is that even with this dog still, there might be, from time to time, he's very good, but from time to time, I might spend 15 minutes in my driveway and I might decide, you know what? I'm not gonna go on that walk. Why? Because he is not in the correct mindset. I don't wanna carry on that walk. I don't wanna carry on that, that energy, and because I already know that energy, my dog is in the wrong mindset when I go on that walk. So the next rabbit I see, or the next person, or the skateboard, or whatever it is that might have alerted him or fired him up in the past, it's just gonna be a constant struggle and a constant, I don't want conflict with my dog.
Yeah, and I think that's a very important thing that they need to see is the difference between physical and being with you physically and being with you mentally. Because my dog can be perfectly right here, but like you say, they're mentally 10 feet ahead of you already. And so I think that mental, at least for me, that mental focus and that being with me mentally is what the reset creates, and what, you know, the whole goal for that is.
And an easy way that I know that our clients, we have the idea to be able to get our dog, our goals are to be able to get a dog to the level of training that our dogs have, right? That's what we want to, we strive for, we try to help people with. But something that they might have a better understanding of, maybe, okay, Chad, you know, I'm not quite to the point you are with your dog, but something just as simple is I take my dog on a walk in the morning. The number one thing that any dog is gonna wanna do is they're gonna wanna put their nose on the ground. Why? Because everyone thinks dogs, they like to sniff. I allow my dog to sniff on a walk because that's what makes them happy. Well, the idea that we create with our clients is, well, I love my dog unconditionally. I know they love me. Whatever happened to my dog focusing and paying attention to me being the highlight of their walk. So in other words, having that relationship we want you to have with your dog. Walking out, I walk onto my sidewalk, into my driveway. My dog's nose is on the ground. Physically, they're right where I want them to be, but mentally, where is my dog? And why would I have a problem with my dog's nose on the ground? Well, because my dog's nose on the ground sniffing that sidewalk or that leaf or dead baby bird or water bottle, whatever it is the first step to my dog disengaging from me. If I allow that behavior for the next 5 or 10 minutes on a walk, he sniffs this, checks this out, and finally I get tired of it, and then I correct my dog, or then I do my reset because now I'm demanding my engagement. I do that reset. My timing is so far off because my dog has been allowed to get away with that behavior now for 5 or 10 minutes. When I actually do correct that behavior, or when I am demanding that change in behavior, my dog has no idea what I'm talking about, because I've allowed that to continue for 5 or 10 minutes. I'm just now deciding to put my foot down. That dog has no concept of that. So again, breaking that down to where if my dog's nose is buried in the driveway, I'm not gonna continue on my walk until I get my dog to look up and acknowledge me. And if that takes sometimes 5, 10 minutes, sometimes again, you might not even make it out of your driveway the first morning or two, and don't let that be frustrating. I always make the joke about, I want your neighbors to look at you through the blinds and stare out, and the gentleman say to his wife, honey, why is this lady doing circles in her driveway with her dog? Because you are doing everything you can in your power, and you're using your tools to be able to get your dog in the right mindset. So the next 15 years you walk your dog down the street, it is picture perfect in what you want your dog to do.
All right, so my dog knows how to reset. It knows everything. I'm gonna take it out on a walk. I just came home from, he just came home from his training retreat. When do I use it? How do I maintain it? Make sure that my dog continues to do it. Let's talk about that. What are the signs do you see to get you to do that? Go over kind of all that stuff.
Of course. So the reset, believe it or not, I can utilize a reset even when I don't actually need a reset at that particular moment. So let me elaborate on that portion real quick. Is that my dog is paying attention. He's already focused. He's in the mindset that I want. I can still do a reset to almost just double or even triple check that my dog is paying attention to me. My dogs actually like resets. I almost make a game out of him. He's paying attention to me. He's already looking at me. He's giving me a focused heel. He's so in tune and so engaged with me. I'll take that quick step back. I might even make the motion that I might even be giving that little pop on that leash, what we're trying to get the dog to understand with the leash pressure. And I might make that quick movement back and find my dog starting to bounce back into position, look at me, gets even more jazzed up and more excited because they're in tune and they're engaged with me. It becomes almost like a fun game for them. They're continually staying engaged with me. Again, I'm standing here, and anytime I change an environment, anytime I change the setting of where I'm going with my dog, I'm gonna be anticipating doing resets if I need to with my dog. If my dog goes anywhere new, you better believe that's the first thing I'm doing. As soon as I get out in the parking lot, my dog has new smells going to the ground. I'm gonna already put in my mind, hey, I'm gonna take probably the next 60 seconds if needed, maybe more, and I'm just gonna do a series of quick resets. I get my dog in tune with me, they're paying attention, and bam, now I'm ready to go walk through the pet expo or walk to the neighbor's house or go get the mail or whatever it is. So remember, again, I'm not looking for my dog to do any specific incorrect or wrong behavior in order to do a reset. I can even do resets even when my dogs are already in the correct mindset. I'm continually demanding that attention, and I'm making it a positive experience instead of waiting for my dog to make a mistake, and I'm always correcting the dog, always giving that correction from the reset. And then the dog starts misunderstanding long term because there's never the positive side of the reset and why the dog doesn't have an understanding of why they're doing the reset. Yep. So that's why I like to use it just as much if I don't even need it at times.
So to a degree, you're just using it as another behavior. I'm going to ask my dog to sit sometimes for obviously no reason. There's not really a reason that we sometimes ask our dogs to sit more than just to stabilize. But then also kind of to a degree, it's like priming the pump. If you do get distracted, I'm preparing you for that. Before you do, remember this trick, this behavior. This is what we're going to do when you do get distracted.
Yep, of course.
All right, so I've gone out my front door. I've gotten to my new place. I've practiced a few resets. Now we're going to go on our walk, and I'm doing those. How do I know that I'm successful, that I got my dog's attention, that the reset did its actual job?
Of course, good question. So again, as I mentioned before, what we are looking for is we're looking for a change in behavior, a terminology commonly used in dog training. But when I say change in behavior, you know your dogs just as well as we do at this point. You know what your walk used to look like the last 6 months that you've owned this dog and you've taken him for a walk, the last year and a half that you've owned your fluffy little golden retriever and he's drugged you down the street. You know the difference of your dog being engaged and disengaged with you at this point in time. So when I do my reset, the response I'm looking for, even if it takes a few of those resets, is sometimes for that dog to kind of stop and maybe even just sit down and kind of just look up at me. You could literally see his entire body decompress, and he just really has that deep thought mentality, that engagement, that kind of sincerity, I guess is the word you could be looking for, to where he's just gets that focus on me. I know that I'm getting the designated response I'm looking for. They like to use it in the horse world where a horse licks their lips. I've actually seen dogs do kind of similar things as well. They'll kind of stop and they'll kind of think a little bit. They'll open their mouth and give just a very slight pant, right? Which means that they're relaxing, as opposed to the dog that's ears are up, his tail is above his head. He was lunging, he was getting excited, he's getting jazzed up. You see the dog's tail come down, not tucked. Dog's tail comes down. We often get that if the dog's tail is up, that means the dog is happy. Sometimes, in most cases, if your dog's tail is up and wagging going 90 miles an hour, it means that your dog is overstimulated at that point in time. So I like to see a dog's tail more neutral, wagging side to side, not up above their head, which usually means they're a lot more alert and, in my opinion, in the wrong mindset. So you'll see that tail change slightly. You'll see the ears kind of relax down. You'll see the body energy relax down. For our dogs that get reactive, our dogs get overly excited, you're gonna see the posturing level is gonna change down a little bit. But again, at the end of the day, I know I've successfully gotten the response I want out of my dog the second that they start to give me the acknowledgement I know I'm looking for. And as soon as they give me that acknowledgement, I know I've successfully been able to achieve my series of resets or whatever the case may be.
So you kind of just touched on it, so I'm just gonna go right into that. The signs, to a degree, that I need to do a reset. So you'd mentioned their tail up, overly excited. If you look at Horace right now, his ears are perked. He's 100% aware of what's going on over there down the field. So there are a number of body signs that tell us that our dog is probably going to do something we don't want them to, especially if I have a dog that has had reactivity in the past, has had aggression, lunges, does any of those things. So let's talk about body behavior.
Yep, so why I've got him in this mindset right now. So here he is, he's been laying here now for 10, 15 minutes. He's been absolutely awesome, picture perfect, but his ears are above his head. He knows I'm staying here, he's not stupid, but at the same time, his ears are focused on something that's going on over here. We've actually got a dog over here practicing recalls. So right here would actually be a picture perfect time, if I had my leash permitted so. I'd be able to back up, give my dog a reset. See how he kind of checked in with me there just slightly as I took that step back? He's conditioned these, he knows, but this would be a picture perfect opportunity with even my trained dog. Listen, dude, I know you like that dog over there because that's fun and exciting, but I want you engaged and in tune with me. I'm not hammering the dog. I'm not doing anything above and beyond other than just a quick, simple little correction. And that's all it takes for a dog like that to be able to re-engage with me. This is Sydney. She's a 4-month-old lab puppy here for our training retreat program. This is going to be about our second or third session on a prong collar. So this will be a perfect example of showing a dog in a very beginning stages. So this will be a combination, as we explained earlier, utilizing resets to not only teach loose leash walking, but to get our dog to mentally and physically re-engage with us. So the first step to my reset, as I take my step backwards, simultaneously my left hand is going to come perpendicular to my left hand side. The purpose of this is actually a very important reason behind this. I want to be able to guide my dog. I'll just show you just even lightly here with her. I want to be able to just guide my dog and keep her at my left hand side. My leash stays relaxed, always, little pops if I need to, but it's always to keep my dog at the left hand side. If I bring my leash here and I hold it in the front, we see that my dog now ends up in front of me. I end up tripping over my dog. She ends up getting confused, and I'm essentially not showing her the default position at my left-hand side in heel position. So the hand coming out to my left-hand side is the most key component to making sure my dog is directed and guided on the right side. So I'll start my process here, and I'm gonna break this down step by step for you. I walk along, I cue my dog to follow my side, I pat my side, I change my direction, my leash stays relaxed. As soon as I start my process of walking backwards, that left hand comes out to my side, my leash stays relaxed, I give a little bump on the leash, another little bump on the leash, good girl, very good. I gave 2 bumps there because she didn't give me the initial response I was looking for. Again, the response is the change in behavior. I gave the first correction, she still decided she wanted to look off in the distance. I gave another little correction, she finally looked up at me. I'm gonna acknowledge her, I'm gonna give her praise for that. So I'm gonna quiet myself for a second, just talk to the dog just so you see how I can build on this. Good girl, Sid. That's it, nice job, very good girl. Left hand out to the side, very good girl, good. Left hand out to the side, little pop out to help her out more. Good job, come on, Sid. Good girl, left hand out to the side. You see how I give that leash every time I change that direction. I give leash, it stays relaxed, I pop as I need to. Good girl. What I'm looking for my dog to do when I start my reset, as I start to walk backwards, I actually want to see my dog physically turn around, see her direction is headed that way right now, or her energy is focused that way right now. I want to see her physically turn and re-engage with me this direction. The only way I do that is I'm going to continue walking straight backwards from where I came. I'm going to give a little bump on the leash there. There it is, good girl, nice job. Now once my dog is directly at my left-hand side is when I'm gonna start now the forward process of my reset. I'm gonna explain this and show you again. I'm gonna go backwards. She physically turns all the way around to follow me. I'm not gonna go forward until the dog is directly perpendicular at my left-hand side. If you want me to be precise, the dog's head is gonna be in line with my knee. So I'll do a series of those to show you here quickly. Good girl, that's it. Nice job. I'm now gonna go forward right here. Relax my leash, good girl. I'm gonna do another reset. Very good. Nope, good. I gave a correction there for sniffing. You notice when she put her nose on the ground, I did not stop walking. I kept walking with her. I'm gonna do this again. Good girl. Take note of my leash. My leash stays relaxed. Good girl, that's it. Good, I'm gonna go backwards again. Another very important concept to this, and this is gonna correlate to a handler and their handling skills, or what the mindset I want you to be in as a handler. Most dogs need resets because they're very high energy, they're high drive, they have that forward going mentality like we say. So if I have a dog that wants to continually go forward, excitability, let's go, let's go, let's go, this way, this way, this way, I'm gonna change my entire demeanor and I'm just gonna slow way down. So she's actually pretty calm right now. She's been doing this now for just a couple minutes, but I'm just gonna show you even slowing my pace down that much more. You see how she even starts to look at me and I'm not even having to really do anything. I'm gonna talk to her here for a second, give her a little correction for sniffing. I'm gonna back up. Good girl. See how quick she made the change on her own there? Good girl. My leash is out to my left the entire time. I'm now gonna continue walking forward, but take note of my pace. My pace is nice and slow. If I walk fast with a high energy dog, the faster you walk, the more you're gonna pick up your dog's energy, the more you're gonna pick up their drive. You're gonna spring them up, you're gonna load them up, and it's gonna be more difficult to get your dog in the mental mind state that you're looking for. So I stay nice and slow. The more my dog calms, the more I can kind of change my pace back to a normal pace. But you notice the entire time, I am never, ever, ever pulling my leash. I'm giving just those simple little corrections. With a 4-month-old lab puppy, it only requires 2 fingers on my leash here to get the designated response I'm looking for. Little pop there, Little pop there. David, will you do me a favor? Will you walk up with this dog and we'll use that dog as a distraction? So we're gonna use this dog. This dog has never seen this dog. You can already see she's changing, so I'll break this down for you. This is perfect. I should have continued walking, but I'm actually gonna break this down step by step and show you, explain what she's doing here. So just off to the right-hand side here, ahead of us, we've got David with a German Shepherd, big dog that she's never seen before. She's interested in that dog. If I'm just standing here at the mailbox and that dog comes walking up, we can already see her ears. David was talking about the dog's ears earlier. Where is she mentally engaged right now? She's engaged on that dog. She knows I'm standing behind her, so in order for me to get the response I'm looking for, as that dog is engaged on the other dog over here, I'm gonna take a step back with a little pop on the leash. Another little pop on the leash. Good girl. Another little pop on the leash. Good. I still haven't seen the behavior change I'm looking for. That's it. Good. I'm gonna walk forward again. Good girl. I continued going back until I got the response I was looking for. So normally I go back, she comes right at my side. I use very little correction, but she was pretty interested in that dog. So David, go ahead and walk across again with that dog. We'll use it as a distraction again. I'm now gonna immediately change my direction, a little pop on the leash there. Perfect. Another little pop again. I'm not gonna go forward until she's at my side, doing what I want. There we go. I'm now gonna continue walking forward. Come on, pup, let's go. Good girl, let's go. Good girl. Good, I'm gonna change my direction again. There it is, good girl. So why am I making such a big deal out of that? She'll learn very quickly. I back up. I didn't even have to give a correction there. She already anticipated what I want, what I was asking for there. And now watch, I use very, very minimal leash with this dog here as a distraction. As I walk forward, as soon as I change direction, I walk backwards. That's my girl. Good job, very good, very good. I wanna make it about me and her. I wanna make sure that she understands that that dog is irrelevant right now. It's about me and her. Good girl, good girl. Here, I'm gonna show you an example of what you can actually use on a daily basis. This is something that every time you take your dog for a walk, walking through a doorway, walking through a threshold, an opening, even going into a car, I can use a reset just to get my dog to, again, physically and mentally re-engage with me. I'm gonna use this door as an example. I'm gonna walk to my left here. I'm gonna walk up with my friend Sydney. As I walk up with Sydney, my expectation is for her to walk through the doorway with me and not ahead of me. For every time my dog wants to continue and carry forward, again, I want to walk backwards, do my reset. When I see the designated response I'm looking for is when I'm going to then walk through the doorway with the dog. I walk forward, I tell her heel, good girl. As soon as I stop, I tell her to sit, good girl. Now I'm going to desensitize her. As soon as I touch this door, I'm going to intentionally swing it open a little quicker than I normally would to see how desensitized she is to the idea of being able to sit and wait for me to walk through the door with me. As I put my hand on the door, I swing the door open, I do my reset, I walk back a couple little steps, I'm gonna walk forward again, I'm even gonna close the door as I get here, sit, good girl. Again, I'm gonna open the door, give it a little reset back, she even just popped her butt off the ground there. I'm gonna stop, sit, good girl. I'm gonna close the door, let's try this one more time. Very good girl, nicely done. Now the next step, I want to walk through the doorway. She probably thinks the training's over at this point. We get to go through the doorway. I'm then going to get prepared to do another reset with her. I walk forward, I tell her heel. I immediately go into a reset to test if she's paying attention. Little bump there, she wasn't paying attention. Let's try this one more time. Sit. Good girl. Heel. I'm going to walk backwards. Little pop again. Good girl. I'm going to walk forward, sit. Good girl. I'm gonna walk forward, heel. I'm gonna start my reset. Almost, pretty close, we're almost there. Good girl, sit. Nicely done, heel. Start my reset, there it is. Good girl, nicely done. Good, I'm gonna stop, heel. I'm gonna start my reset, and there it is again. Nicely done, good girl. Good, now I've got her attention, her focus is on me, that's my girl. We're now gonna walk through the door together. I'm gonna stop when I get to the threshold just to double check she's paying attention to me. Heel, good girl, I'm gonna stop. That's it, good. Heel, very good girl, nicely done, good job. The best part about this technique is it took less than just a few minutes. If I'm willing to take a few minutes of my daily walk with my dog just out the front door, and even in my afternoon walk with my dog, I promise you, you're gonna see a huge difference with your dog every single time you walk through that doorway.